say we're talking to somebody who's 19 and is considering whether they will devote themselves to learning languages for the foreseeable future, and in what sense should they do that, or would they derive more meaning from doing? What would you advise to?
Yeah. So this is my 100% honest answer that I would give to someone who I do not think is stupid, that I do not think is an idiot. Some people are stupid. I often have to give advice to stupid people. But if I think someone is fundamentally intelligent, I would express to them the challenge as follows. Politically, this language you're going to focus on learning, is it a language you would want to read a newspaper article in? And is this a language you would want to write and publish a newspaper article in? And that starts to unpack for you what would justify the enormous sacrifice in learning the language. So I have published newspaper articles in Cambodian, in Thai, in Chinese, with enormous effort, no reward, I assure you. It's not as if I'm now famous as a result, but I've published a few newspaper articles in a few languages. If your first language is Cambodian, if you grew up in Cambodia and the only language you can read and write is Cambodian, learning English, now you can read newspaper articles in English. That's tremendously powerful and liberating and important, right? Now, the problem is the other way around, right? So if your first language is English, what do you really gain by being able to read Cambodian? Maybe for you, it's worth it. Maybe for you to really understand what's going on in Cambodian politics, whether that's reading the newspaper or listening to the radio there, it's still a country where radio is important, to understand really what's happening in politics. Maybe, now can you publish newspaper articles? With Cambodia, you can be killed. This is real life. You are risking your life by writing about or talking about politics there. Now, exactly that same matrix, sort of, if you think about it as political input and political output, rather than linguistic input and output, a different paradigm. Okay, should I learn Japanese? Should I learn Chinese? And then, as you know, with smaller languages, this is what you have to deal with too. Cree and Ojibwe. So in Korean, there's almost nothing to read. You can read the Bible, translated. It's like Christian missionaries. There is some literature. I used to own every book that's been published, basically. Okay, slight exaggeration. Almost every book. But I had them on a shelf. There were very few books published in Cree. There's very little to read. There's very little you can hear.
What do you do with them?
Right.
What did you do with them?
Right.
You got rid of them?
But yes. No, they literally went in a garbage dumpster. Yes. No, when I had to leave Saskatchewan, when that fell apart, all those books went in the garbage, quite literally. Yes. No, it's very sad. All the books I had for Laotian and related linked languages. I've studied some smaller languages too, like Tailu and ethnic minority languages. That all went in the garbage also. So no, I've put a lot of books, important books, in the garbage in my day with the heartbreaking process of giving up on languages. Okay, but just to return to the small language. Yeah. But what difference can you make? Yeah. What if what you're writing, what if your output matters? Whether that's Cree, or, you must be aware, like in Mexico, they have some indigenous languages that are still somewhat lively. What if that's the difference? And otherwise, I'm just being real with you. If there isn't a strong enough reason to lose 10 years of your life and part of your brain under one heading or the other, then don't do it. Now, you have some experience with Portuguese, right?
Learning Portuguese?
Yeah. No, you don't. Am I wrong?
Yeah. I learned Portuguese with a Brazilian accent with a bunch of Brazilians in Missouri. In Missouri. So, there's an archive in Portugal that records historical facts about Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Myanmar from the earliest period of colonial contact. They have records, historical records about India that are more important than anything written down in India. And they're in old-fashioned Portuguese, a mix of Portuguese and Latin. How many people alive can do that reading? How many people alive will? Right? Yeah. So again, it may sound bizarre, but for the right person, maybe even someone born in Cambodia with Cambodian as their first language, Portuguese could be the language to learn. It could be the most important language for you to learn. Mm-hmm. That's my answer. Right. Yeah. So essentially, is the ability to make a difference to people's lives, to make a political impact, and to unlock knowledge that is coded in language.
Well, so this stuff is easy for me because I'm 44. The other question I say to my fans again and again, whether they are smart or stupid, some people are stupid. I try to help people who are stupid. I don't just insult them or hurt them or something. But some people are stupid. The other question is, who do you want to be 5 years from now? And, for real, for the right person, studying Latin could make you a better person 5 years from now. Not everyone. For the right person, right? And, it's very, very hard for me to recommend anyone learn Chinese. It is just so much work with so little outcome. But for the right person, think about who you are today. Think about who you can be 5 years from now. Maybe Chinese. Maybe that really is. And, it's so different from, Spanish. Spanish is incredibly little work and an incredibly small sacrifice compared to Chinese or Japanese. But yeah, and I want everyone to be haunted by that. I want everyone to have nightmares thinking about the person they're going to be 5 years from now. It's both a positive motivation and a negative motivation. I learned enough of the Thai language. When I was in Thailand, I could still speak to a taxi driver. And I used to speak much more, whatever it is now, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I could speak the language much better than I can now. I don't want to retire in Thailand. I don't want to be an old white man retired in Thailand who speaks the Thai language. That's not who I want to be. A lot of guys do. Have someone that's their greatest dream and fantasy. So it's hard. It's hard. These are hard decisions that ultimately do come down to, who am I going to be? And that's the one thing you can control. Ultimately, you can't control what difference you get to make in the world, but you get to decide who you are.
All right.
Do you find that inspiring or depressing?
No, it probably has to be both. It probably has to be both to work, right? So, right. Eisel, thanks a lot for sharing your views and your knowledge for the hyperpolyglot.
It's been wonderful talking to you. Imagine if we talk again just 1 year from now and everything's gotten better. Imagine if 1 year from now we're talking about the polyglot phenomenon on YouTube, polyglot language community. We're talking about, and everything's gotten better. And it's like, wow, it's possible. Things can change. Yeah. So things have changed a lot in the last 5 years. They can change in the next 5 years, and they can change right now. Again, I give credit to your channel. I think your channel really can be part of that positive change.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I'll continue to produce materials and videos which hopefully will go in that direction. Thank you, Eisel.
Thank you.